Hey guys, this is the review for your first spiral. We're going to go through a couple problems on here. They're going to be really similar to the ones that you're going to see on your spiral whenever you have it. The goal here is to give you a chance to get some help if you need it, and for us to see who's doing some extra work practicing at home. Here we've got a problem that's an x on both sides. The first thing that I notice is that if I have an x on both sides of this problem, it would be really helpful if I combine those two somehow to get the x's all on one side. I'm not loving this minus 4x here, so I'm probably going to get rid of that one by adding 4x to both sides. I'm going to make sure I line those up under my x terms. 2x plus 4x gives me 6x. I'm going to bring down my plus 5. Negative 4x plus 4x is 0. Nice. Those cancel out. And I'm left with 8 on that side. Now to get my x by itself, I've got to undo the stuff that's being done to it. One thing I could do is subtract 5 from both sides. And I end up with 6x is equal to 3. To get rid of this 6 times part of 6x, I could divide both sides by 6, and I'm left with x is equal to 3/6, or if you're feeling fancy, you could reduce that to 1/2. Moving on, our second problem is asking us to solve an inequality and then graph its solution. I'm going to treat this a lot like I would treat just a normal equation. I'm going to rewrite this so it's a little bit clearer. So 3x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 5. And in almost all instances, everything that we do can be used exactly the same way as though it were an equation. So plus 2 plus 2. 3x is greater than or equal to 7. And to get rid of this 3 in front of the 3x, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I'm left with x, because 3 divided by 3 is 1, is greater than or equal to 7/3. Note, if I multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip this sign around. If we don't multiply or divide by a negative, we're not doing anything to that at all. So for the most part, again, this is just like solving an equation. But if we are, we've got to switch our inequality sign to go the other way. Last part about this is coming up with some kind of a graph. I might add 7/3 as a point. I know if this is going to be greater than or equal to, it's going to be a closed circle. And greater than means I'm going to the right. And that's it. On the back of this, we're looking at some stuff with slope. First up, we're trying to find the slope between a couple points. And one way that we like talking about this is realizing that we are talking about the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. In other words, the rate of change of y compared to x. In other words, rise over run. And the easiest way for us to do this is to say, okay, going from 5 to 7, that's going up plus 2. So I could say the change in y is going to be 2. And going from negative 3 to positive 2, I've got to go up 5 to get there. 5 would be the change in x. My slope could be written as 2/5. Alternatively, some of you prefer talking about this as x1, y1, and x2, y2. And then you're looking at y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In other words, 7 minus 5 over 2 minus negative 3, which is 2/5. Even if you had flipped that around and did 5 minus 7 over negative 3 minus 2 and got negative 2 over negative 5, well, the negatives there cancel each other out and you get 2/5. So you've got one way, which is kind of using reasoning up here. We've got a second way, which is using a formula. And we've got a third way, which we can make kind of a what I call a slope triangle. So 1, 2, 3, backwards 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's negative 3 comma 5. And then 1, 2, going up 2 more. I know I'm crossing over on this next thing. That's not very pleasant. If I have graph paper, count the boxes. Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going over. And 1, 2. It's supposed to be a bracket there going up. My slope triangle there would be 2/5. 3 different ways to find slope from 2 points. The second problem here gives us kind of a different idea. And here we're looking at what happens if we know what the slope is, but we don't know what numbers we have to get us there. I'm going to treat this the same way I did my first one. Okay, to get from 7 to k, to figure out how much this is, I got to subtract those to find the differences. So that'd be k minus 7 on top. And similarly, getting from 4 to 10, I know it's up 6, or I could do 10 minus 4 gives me 6 on the bottom. For this to be a slope of 5, I could solve this equation. In fact, that's what I'm going to do for this, but there are lots of other ways we can get there. And I'm really curious to see some of your ways when we talk about this in class some more. One way to handle this would be to multiply both sides by 6. That gets rid of that lovely denominator. I'm left with k minus 7 is equal to 30. To get rid of the minus 7, we're going to add 7 to both sides, and k is equal to 37. We have a winner.